Hello. Welcome. I just realized they couldn't hear me because I
Oh.
was like not in the thing. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Hoop Sisters Wednesday Live. We got a lot of new people.
We do.
So we should let you know that we go live Wednesdays at 2 Eastern all the time,
Yes,
unless
we
there's a
do.
holiday.
Can we not show what's behind us? There we go.
Why? Is there something they can't see?
No, there's just wasn't cute.
Oh, okay.
It's our mess.
Oh, yeah. Well, we all have a messy sewing room.
That's right.
I don't have a sewing room. I have a messy live room.
That's right. I had to fix it for you.
I appreciate it.
We're here today because we just whipped up something really cute a few weeks ago. And we thought it would be a really great, last minute Christmas gift.
Yes.
That is kind of wintry, but not so much Christmassy.
Right. So you can keep it out.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I did the smaller version of it. I did in one hooping, sewed them together, put it back on, and then I stuffed it. So this is our little Winter Wonderland pillow.
So
look
cute.
at all those giant snowflakes. Aren't they cute?
It comes in 2 sizes.
It does. I have the 5-inch. Aubrey has the 7-inch.
Isn't that cute?
So cute.
And we love this because we just released a really big upcoming project as a sew along last week. So this week we wanted to give you something that you could just download. It's a download only.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for new people.
It is, because it's simple piecing. It's just a background fabric and your tree fabric, and then the stitching that's on top of it. That's it.
Yeah. And
That's
4 blocks.
4 blocks.
So
Perfect.
can't beat it.
Perfect.
So today Annie is going to stitch it out, but let's talk about what products we're going to use for the best results.
Okay.
For this project.
Absolutely. We can do that. She wants that pillow.
Give me the pillow.
One of the products we'll be using is our battleizer, which, again, if you're new to Hoop Sisters, our battleizer is a batting and stabilizer combination product. So you don't need to hoop 2 things. It has your batting for your quilting and enough stability in it in order to be able to hold up to all the stitching. Nice and drapable. It's a wonderful product. It's something that you can find on our website.
It's perfect for this.
It is. It's perfect for our pillows, our quilts, and just probably 90% of our designs or more will require the almost said hoop shape battleizer.
And the step 1 is always hoop it.
Yes.
You hoop it. It goes right in there.
Absolutely. And it's very, very easy to hoop. The other product that I'm going to be using today is our hoop scissors. It's our larger hoop scissors. We're going to doing piecing in the hoop and not applique. So that's when I like to pull out my hoop scissors. It's a really nice pointy scissors, has a long blade to it for trimming fabric if I need to, and a pointy edge. So pointy, it comes with a little rubber thing on the end. So that is the other thing that I'm going to be using. And then, of course, I'm going to be trimming it with the trimmer by George. This one's already in the package. And for those of you who don't know, there is a QR code on here. And the QR code takes you to videos so that you can watch Linda using it, and she will teach you exactly how to use it perfectly.
Yeah, that's really helpful, because then right when you get it, you can scan that and go right to where you need to be.
That's right. Because you might think, well, I ordered it and I remember seeing it on a video. You don't have to go hunt down the video because the QR code's right there. Yes. And on the other side, if you flip it over, there's a free design that you can download on our website too. And it's a little case to hold your trimmer by George.
It's so cute.
It is cute. Very cute. So let's see. Want me jump right in and get started?
Do it. Let's do it.
All right. So we have here.
You want me to hold and you point?
Yeah, that's okay. It's a little bitty hoop. I'm going to do the 5-inch block. So here's my 5-inch block. And like Aubrey said, first step is hooping your battleizer. Now you can probably see, you look real close. I'll try and get the right angle on it. You can see there's a little zigzag stitch there. That's because I took some battleizer and I did what we like to call Frankenbat. So I basically butted the ends up together in zigzags so I could save some money, which is always a good thing.
It's going to go in the trash or back in the hoop, which one you want to do, right?
So sometimes when they pop out of the hoop, you have to trim off and you end up with big sections. I like to trim the sides first. That way I have nice long sections that I can then franken back together. So I have a piece of franken battleizer in there. It's a mouthful. And I've already done my first step in the design, which is to stitch out a placement stitch. And you can see I use green thread. We, in our instructions, say to use water-soluble thread.
But you can't see that.
You can't see that.
You can't see that.
I can see it, but you wouldn't be able to see it. I wanted to be able to see what's stitching out.
Right.
So I'm going to go over to the machine. Aubrey's going to show you the instructions, and I'll get set up on the machine. You want me to trip?
No, I don't. No, I don't. All right. So while she's getting set up over there at the machine, I just wanted to pull up the instructions. We said that this is a really great beginner project. So I just thought it would be nice to show you specifically what our instructions look like. By the way, this is also a nice quick project for you pros who have been hanging out with us for a while. You could really whip this out. As Annie mentioned, there are 4 blocks, just 4 blocks. So if you have a really big hoop, you could make this all the blocks in one hooping, which I think Annie did when she made one of her samples. I also love that this comes in the 2 sizes. So if you can only do a 5-inch, you can participate. But if you'd like the bigger one and a 7-inch, you have that option too. The other really nice thing about this is it's kind of one of your fabric stash busters. You can just kind of pull from maybe the stash you already have. If you have some colors in there you think would look nice, because you're not going to need a ton of fabric for this one either. So we have the supply list in here for both sizes, 5-inch and 7-inch. And then Annie's going to take you through these steps, and it looks like she's set up. So I'm not going to spend too much time in here, but there is, I just wanted to show you what the instructions look like. They're step by step, and they include a ton of images. We even show you how to put it together, and assembly instructions as well. All right, Annie, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay. All right, so I think I'm all set up. So I have, as I showed you in the other room, that I already had my step 1, which is our placement stitch. And I used green thread so that you can see it. My next step is to add my wool. And wool is an optional step. It does give the design a little bit more dimension. And you can skip it or you can use it. A lot of times if it's something like a table runner or table topper, I will skip the wool. Just because if you want to put a glass or a vase on it, it won't be quite as tipsy. But if you want that dimension, then definitely use the wool. So what you do is you press the edges of the wool in about 1/4 inch. And I have been using, oh goodness, forgot what it's called. Just like that, it's gone. It's the paper used, parchment paper for cooking. And I just lay it right on top of there. And then with my iron, we'll just seal that edge to make it nice and thin. And that will help you to be able to keep your presser foot from getting caught. Another thing I'd like to suggest that you do is if your machine has the capability to raise your presser foot a little bit, that will also help in keeping it from getting caught. So what you're going to do is take your wool, and we'll tell you exactly what size to cut it. And you're just going to put it inside that placement stitch. And again, I'm using green thread so you can see what stitches. And we're just going to attach the wool. Okay, so now we have our optional wool attached. The next step is it's going to sew basically the pattern to show you exactly where to put your fabric and stuff. So I have my presser foot raised a little bit, but sometimes I just want to make sure that that wool does not get caught in the foot. And sometimes if you need to slow your machine down, if you feel more comfortable doing that, then go ahead. I think I need to turn my thread cutter on. Let's see, hold on while I make an adjustment here. All right. So the next step is we're going to place our background fabric. The pillows that we showed in there, they look like the night version, but I chose a lighter version here. So I just have like an ivory fairy frost that's really pretty. And I'm just going to center it. So I get it where I think it needs to be. And then I pick it up and I make sure that this entire area is going to be covered. And it looks like it is. And again, I would use water soluble thread for this step. And we'll show you exactly the reason why when we go back in here there and finish this block. And that's so that when you get done and you're sewing this block to another block, you won't have the stitching showing and you won't have to rip it out, and the water soluble thread will just dissolve. So normally I would be using water soluble thread, but I'm going to continue with the green so that you can see what's going on. And your only job is to make sure that your fabric doesn't shift. All right. So get my thread tail out of there. The other thing that I'm going to do right now is I'm going to trim this fabric. And I'm going to use my hoop scissors to do that, the longer blade one. And I'm going to trim about a scant 1/4 inch away from that stitching. So let me do that right now. And the cool thing about when you do a hoop scissors block in the hoop is that you don't have to have a perfect 1/4 inch there. As you can see, it's definitely not perfect because the machine knows exactly where to place the seam. So let me put this back on here. And then our next step is the tree fabric. So I'm going to take my tree fabric. What I like to do when there's an angle like this, I like to place the tree fabric where I want it to be when it's finished, because sometimes those angles can be kind of tricky, and after you sew the seam and flip it over, you'll find that you didn't quite have it placed in the right spot. So if you place it where you want it and then very carefully turn it over, trying not to move it, you should be good to go. So now I'm just going to, you would use just a regular sewing thread and you can stitch your seam. And then you can flip your fabric right side up, and then you can finger press. Let's see, I'm going to actually read my instructions. What is my next step? Step 6, water soluble thread in the needle only, smooth out the tree fabric, and it's going to do a tack down stitch around the tree fabric to hold it in place. And I did get a little close up there, so I should have taken a little more time getting that in place. And then my next steps are actually going to be the cute little snowflakes. So I'm going to put some white thread in the needle. I still have embroidery bobbin thread in the bobbin, and I'm going to sew the snowflakes. And this is probably going to take a few minutes, but it's kind of fun watching it all stitch out. Got a thread tail to snip. And you could use a silvery thread on here on the snowflakes if you want. Kind of going to depend on what your color your background fabric is. It's going to be very subtle over the background, but over the tree you're going to be able to see some snowflakes. So that's half a snowflake, and the other half of that snowflake is going to be on the block that will be on top of it. And there's just one more snowflake to go, and then we're going to do the lettering. Clip a thread tail here.
All right. Well, she's stitching in there. She's also in here.
Multitasker.
Yeah.
Well, we mentioned water soluble thread, and then I was using the green so that you can see it.
Mhm.
I did want to show you why we use it, especially on the outside edges. You can see the white thread there. That is actually water soluble thread. And if I were to get it wet, I'm not going to do that. But if I were to take a Q-tip and just wet that, it would just dissolve.
Yeah.
So then you wouldn't have to worry about it, but it holds your fabric in place in the meantime.
I was thinking while that was stitching, you used kind of a white fabric and white thread for the snowflakes. But you could even, I was looking at this light blue.
Oh, yeah.
That she used for the lettering in this one.
Yep.
But I know snow's not blue, but it's frosty.
Yeah.
And so if you decided to do, you know, you can always contrast your thread and your fabric, I
Right.
guess is what I'm saying,
Yep.
if you want the snowflakes to stand out a little bit more.
Yep.
Like look how awesome those are.
And if you're really gutsy, maybe even a metallic and slow your machine down. A silvery color would be really pretty.
Yeah.
Very pretty snowflakes. But it's sometimes a tone on tone. You may not notice it or see it on camera.
Right.
But when you see it in person, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to point out too is that each step on all 4 of these blocks is exactly the same. Like, so you're going to add your background, you're going to do the seam for your tree, you're going to do your snowflakes, and then your lettering. Speaking of lettering, I'm going to continue.
Can you get out that way?
Yeah, I can.
Do you want me to put the camera back on you? I will, just so you guys can see what she's doing.
Okay, so now you'll have to choose a thread that you think is going to show up really nicely on both your background and your tree fabric. I think it's okay to have a subtle snowflake, like a tone-on-tone effect, but kind of, in my opinion, and prove me wrong if you will, but I think the lettering should stand out and show up nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to put this darker green color in here. Oh, and of course my thread shredded. Let me try that again. Of course it's shredded, right? Yeah. That looks better. All right. Okay, so now it's going to do the lettering. So the lettering, of course, is Wonderland. We've got a really fun font that we used on here, so I think you guys will really like this. Let me cut the thread tail and we'll get going.
All right. Well, she's finishing that. I just think this is cool because I've seen some extravagant quilts that you guys have made, and this is the instructions, and like that's it. Like that's all you have to do.
Those are all the steps there are to it to come up with a really quick, simple. If somebody, a lot of times we get asked about, I'm a beginner, which one should I do? And it's so hard to tell because it's basically some of the designs have more steps in them, some have less. So I think this
you can do them all, but
you can
less steps.
This has less steps, so I would put this in the beginner category.
There you go. And I know that's really little, but it's a full page PDF when you actually get it. The other thing that I have flashed up on the screen here a couple times, those are the fabric requirements, but I think it's fantastic that you really only have to think about 2 fabrics and 2 threads.
Right.
So, you can go darker like she did here, or you can really just play with it and do whatever makes your heart happy. But sometimes I think picking fabric can be one of the hardest challenges for people because you want it to look really good. This is easy. 2 fabrics, 2 threads. She used a light color thread for the snowflake, and then a darker blue for the words Winter Wonderland.
I'm going to go check on it. And if you want to maybe just show them the back.
Okay.
And then I'll be back in to talk about the back of the pillow.
Yeah. So she made this a pillow. Now she can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you have to make a pillow. You could just make it like a little table topper. But she included instructions for how to make the pillow. Look at that. So cute. And she said beforehand, there's a lot of ways you can do this, but this is the way that I did it. So here's the back of the 5-inch.
Now I added a little extra band for color on there that I don't think I put that in the instructions.
That's cute though.
But it's just something you could do, or
this
use
one's
the
just
decorative stitches.
Stitch, yeah.
Yep. Lots of fun things you can do. You could, if you don't want to do this type of back, you could add a zipper down here in the seam. I mean, there's tons of different things. However you want to finish. You could
just put it on the table too. Like you don't need to necessarily make a pillow, right?
And that's what I think I'll do with this one is just make like a mug rug, and it would end up, about this size. This size here would make a great table topper.
Yeah.
You could even continue to make several of them and put them on a table look really cute.
That would look cute.
Yep, lots of things. I can't wait to see what everybody else is going to do with it because everyone usually has better ideas than we do. So,
well, it is amazing. Like once you guys get your hands on it and we see pictures start to post in the VIP group, it's pretty fun.
Like, oh yeah, why didn't I think of that?
I can think of a couple like new releases we've done where the colorways have just blown me away. I'm like, oh yes, that is beautiful.
Yep.
But that's the thing. You can just pick a couple fabrics. This is a really, like we've said multiple times, a really good beginner project or something super quick that you can just do while you're waiting for your barn quilt to show up. So you can start that in January. This will keep you busy. I also always love it when you can get a long life out of a design, meaning you can keep this up throughout the whole winter season. It's not just Christmas and then it's over, right? So I like that about it too.
And a thought just crossed my head. What if you already had your barn fabric and you bought a little extra and had some pillow accessories wherever you're going to put your barn quilt?
That'd be a really good idea.
That would be super, super cute.
Look at you. She's all full of ideas.
All right. I'm going to check the design again and then we're going to trim it. And then I think we'll be done after that. But let me go check the design.
All right. She's going to go peek in there. We'll let you guys take a look at that. Oh, yeah, it's coming together. I see a couple questions that we will answer. I wonder if I can do, there we go. Now we can see both. So just want to answer a couple questions. Yes, it is available in 5-inch and 7-inch. So someone was asking about the block sizes. And this one we did this one just as a download only. It was kind of like a last minute, this
Christmas
would be cute.
Gift. Yeah, it's a little Christmas surprise. Even though it's not Christmas, but you could make it look Christmassy. But I like to have a few decorations that'll carry over and be more wintry than Christmas.
Right. Because honestly, I feel like winter doesn't even start anymore until after Christmas in Ohio.
Yeah.
And then it's cold for months. But,
that's true.
So I feel like that's great. So yes, it is the 5-inch and the 7-inch. This one was not available on USB. It is strictly a download, and it's only $24.99. So it's a really nice price point too. So you can start it right away with the download. But I will say, as Annie mentioned in the beginning, we do recommend that you use the battleizer. If you order this is the smallest one we have at the 5 yards, and you will have plenty.
Oh yeah,
you can do
enough
other
for the
projects
next one.
Right, but this is the smallest one that we have, so we definitely recommend this. You've seen her use her scissors a couple times too. Obviously you can't download those things, but we highly recommend that you use those products for the best results. And then the trimmer, which she'll show you in just a second too.
And it looks like maybe
getting closer.
It stopped, so we're
okay.
It's done. Don't do what I do. Stay by your machine.
Do you want the camera over there? Okay, well then we won't put the camera over there. Someone was asking about instructions. I'm going to pop this back up and hopefully you can see it. So this particular part is the 5-inch supply list. And like we talked about, you can just kind of bust through your stash and kind of see what you have in there. I bet you could use some of that because you're not going to need a ton. And then this one is the 5-inch. So it doesn't look like I changed the page, but I did. And then we also have the different things that we recommend that you use that we just talked about for the best results as well. All right, Annie, are you ready?
I am. I don't know what my camera looks like, but we'll find out.
I can see it.
Let me see if I can go a little higher. Does that look better, Aubrey? Okay, hopefully that looks better for everyone. Okay, so on our designs, anything on, if you're doing this as a quilt or as a table runner, if it's the edge of it, you're going to want to trim 1/4 of an inch through all your layers if you're going to put a binding on it. If you're going to sew a backing to it, so in other words, if you're going to put your backing fabric down and sew around it and turn it, then you're going to want to trim on all sides, which is pretty much what we're going to do with the pillow. So I'm going to show you how to use the trimmer by George. And basically the goal that we want is to be able to remove all the bulk from the seams. So we want this battleizer to go away. So we could try using a ruler and a rotary cutter and pulling the fabric back and then trimming, but you probably got about a 90% chance of nicking that fabric every time you do that. And the same if you tried to use the scissors, you're going to come really close to that fabric and end up nicking it. So, and I'm explaining this because I know some people are probably new to Hoop Sisters. They're like, what in the world is a trimmer by George? So this is the trimmer by George tool. And basically it's an acrylic ruler, but it has a metal edge on it. And that crimped metal edge is what is going to protect your fabric. So what you do is you take the metal edge side of your trimmer by George and you just shimmy it right in there between the battleizer and your fabric, and then you lay the ruler down. And then you can just give it a gentle tug and make sure you don't see any fabric peeking out there. And then you're going to need to use a 60mm rotary cutter. And then you're just going to use that metal edge as you would a rotary cutter ruler on the edge so that you can trim right against that. And that way, all the bulk is gone in your seams. I'm going to do this on all 4 sides so you'll get to see it again and again and again. So you just shimmy that in there and lay it down and do a gentle tug and visually make sure there's no fabric. And then you can use your 60mm rotary cutter to trim that. And I'm just going to do this all the way around. One more side to go. Okay, so we are all done. There's what the back looks like. Probably see it better over here. You can see how most of the bulk is gone in the seam. And then you will take your trimmer by George, you'll flip it over to the ruler side, and you'll line the 1/4 inch mark up to, I'm having difficulty seeing it here, so I'm going to flip my block over. Line the 1/4 inch mark up with that basting stitch, and then you can trim around your block. Okay, so there's our trimmed up block. There's the back. And that's how you use the trimmer by George. So I'm going to come in there by you now, Aubrey.
All right. What do you guys think? How easy is that? You basically have 1/4 of the project done now.
I do. And you know what? If I would have used the big hoop and put all 4 files in there at once, I would have been about 10 minutes from finishing it. Wow. All 4 blocks. That's how quick it is.
That's cool.
And while it's stitching, you could probably go and prep, if you're doing the pillow, if you're turning it into a pillow, you can probably go prep the backing for your pillow.
Oh, yes.
Or, backing for your entire finished project.
It's precious.
So it is precious. And I can't wait to see all the different colors. When I went to pick fabric for this morning, I was just kind of like, I thought about doing like a frosty blue for the background. So there's a lot of different things I think people can do.
I'm going to hold this up close to the camera so that you guys can see the snowflakes. Can you see them? They're so cute.
They're much better on a pillow than outside.
Yeah, that's true.
If it could snow on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day,
and then no more.
and then be done.
Can we just order that up?
Yeah. I don't think it'll be very effective. Any more questions on Facebook or YouTube?
They just like it. They're excited and they want to know how to order it. So I popped the link in there. So you guys can go order. It's right on the website. Again, it's download only, just $24.99. So it's really cheap and it's a great beginner project.
That's right. So then you can download it, have the files, and by the time you go to bed, you might have a pillow or two all finished. It's great.
Sounds good. All right. Well, we'll